the library at the bottom of the lake. Thistle was not a remarkable fish. He didn't swim fast. He wasn't especially silver. He didn't lead schools or leap toward dragonflies like the bolder ones did. He preferred the quieter parts of the lake, the shaded coves, the silt trails that curled like smoke, the places where things drifted and settled and stayed. He liked those. One quiet morning, when the lake was still and the reeds had not yet stirred, Thistle drifted lower than he usually did. He wasn't searching. He wasn't escaping. He was simply curious. The deeper water was dimmer, but gentle. It felt silent in a way that made you want to listen, like the lake was holding something just beneath the surface. He passed a sunken log, hollow and mossed. A snail watched him go, then tucked back inside. A little deeper. The plants here weren't green. They were pale blue, like they'd forgotten the color of sunlight. Still deeper. There were fewer fish now, no minnows, no darting shapes. Just a slow pulse of the water around him, like a heartbeat in sleep. And then he saw it, a soft glow, low and wide, half covered in lake-bed silt. It wasn't a cave, it wasn't a ruin. It looked like a building, long, curved, part stone, part coral, built into the ground as if it had always been there. There were no doors, no windows, no bubbles rising from inside. But Thistle felt it before he touched it. This was not a place you entered. This was a place that let you in. Thistle passed beneath an ancient arch of stone, and the water around him grew still. Inside, the water moved differently, slower, wiser, like it had been turned 100 times and now knew better than to rush. The walls curved around him, soft stone laced with shell, with coral veined like old hands. Small alcoves lined the perimeter, each one holding something that wasn't quite a book, but also wasn't anything else. One looked like a coiled ribbon of silk, pulsing faintly with color. Another was a hollow pearl filled with whisper light. Some were shaped like driftwood, others like tangled kelp. One floated, barely tethered, held in place by memory alone. Thistle circled the first one carefully. And it opened. Not physically, not with sound. It opened around him. He wasn't in the library anymore. He was inside someone's memory. The world was warmer, shallower. Sunlight danced at the surface. He felt smaller, faster. Someone else's fins, someone else's breath. He was a child again, but not his own childhood. There were voices, laughter, a school of fish weaving through cattails, singing some old pattern in rhythm. A parent's hum behind it all, soft and tired, and just as quickly it was gone. Thistle drifted back, blinking. The water in the library held still. The memory had passed. He swam to the next shelf. This one was cold. He barely brushed it, and the ache reached into his chest. A migration, a goodbye, someone letting go of a sibling who would not return, the sensation of staying behind when you were supposed to follow, of being the one who remembered when no one else could. He recoiled, not in pain, but in awe. These were not stories. These were lives. Thistle drifted among them for a long time. He did not try to understand them all. Some were too large. Some were closed too tight. Some felt like they were still waiting for the right swimmer. But a few settled inside him. Not as facts, as feelings, as fragments, as quiet truths. with no names. When Thistle finally rose back toward the surface, something followed him. Not a ghost, not a voice, not a presence he could point to, just something that stayed, a quiet ache behind the gills, a memory that wasn't his, a gentleness in the way he moved. The lake hadn't changed. The reeds still whispered, the dragonflies still flitted, but Thistle did not swim the same. He held a younger fish out of a tangled root without being asked. He rested beside an elder carp who'd long stopped being noticed, not because it was expected, because the memory had taught him how. He returned to the library once more, not to search, not to learn, just to be near it. He swam slower through the arch, and one of the books, one shaped like a curled leaf, pulsed faintly as he passed. He didn't touch it. He just nodded and swam on. The lake hadn't changed, but Thistle had. And sometimes that's the whole story. If you enjoyed this story and would like to hear more from the Kind Chicken universe, please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.